Hi and welcome everyone. I'm Karina Ladet and this is my dear friend Leonie Dawson. Leonie, if you don't know her, she is a best-selling author. She's a super successful entrepreneur. She's a philanthropist, that's a really hard word to say, artist, a mama. She's the creator of the Shining Academy, and she's also the creator of these amazing workbooks and planners that I've used since 2011 to plan my years and my wild dreams. And this is the new copy that I'm not allowed to fill in yet because I haven't finished the last one. Like I haven't done it yet. So hi, Leonie. It's lovely to have you.
Hi, everyone. So I need to share background here. Me and Karina got on this call exactly an hour ago. And we're like, oh, we'll just chat for 5 minutes before we start interviewing. And then an hour has passed and we're like, we didn't really just press record now. And then like 10 minutes later, we're like, press record now. We have so much to talk about. So you were so lucky that we're even doing this interview because holy shit, it almost did not happen because me and Karina need to talk about everything.
Yeah, and we had so much to say, right? Once you start, it's like, can't stop.
Oh my God. Why don't we not talk just 100% of the time?
Yeah, we should do that.
Right? Just have like this radio show that's just constant.
Yeah, chatting and sharing these beautiful stories. And Leon and I are going to meet in February next year as well. So we'll get the opportunity to share and more and hang out.
Meet again. We've already hung out, but we'll meet again.
Yeah, in a different place because you like moving around, right?
I do. The last time me and Karina met, I was very sick with hyperemesis gravidarum in a pregnancy, and she was flying over from France to Australia and was coming to the very small hippie village where I live in the middle of buttfuck nowhere in Australia. And she was like, hey, I'm doing workshops here. And I'm like, get the fuck out. And so we were kind of playing it by ear to see if I would have like a pocket of like a window of an hour or two where I would be well enough to be out of bed. And it happened. And so we just like had this moment of connection and like, you know, instant best friendship. Before I went back to bed. And so we've been connected always.
Yeah, that was really miraculous how that happened, wasn't it? It's like you have that window of time where everything aligns and boom, it happens. And yeah, it was really, really magical. It's going to be so much fun to meet again. And longer.
I'll be not sick this time. I'll be like, hello! You'll be like, sweet Jesus. She's not
Oh gosh. So I would love for you, Leonie, to share a bit more about your workbooks because
that's right, we're talking about that.
I think it's really remember right. 1 out of 100 different topics. Because we're at the end of the year and I know that we all, and I think you're gonna agree on this, want this year to be over and we want to start a new fresh year, new beginnings, right? And especially since 2016, I think for a lot of us has been really full on, like both personally and globally, like so much stuff going on. And so one of the things actually I love the most about your workbooks is the part where we look back on our year and we do the closing ceremony and review and stuff. Can you share a bit about why this is so important?
Sure. So, I mean, firstly, like, I think most of us, like 99% of us, want to take 2016 out the back and shoot up the asshole because fuck you very much. That was a hard year. I'm so poetic. Like, I should be a best-selling author. Oh, wait, I am because I am so poetic.
Yes, poetic. That's exactly how I was going to describe it.
Yeah. It's just a very graphic illustration of something. Everyone pictured that in their minds when I said those words. I started these books in 2009. This is it's been a long time, and we've now had over 250,000 people. Well, more than that now. Over 250,000 people using them and getting such big results. It just makes such a big difference to their lives and to their businesses if they use the business one as well, that they realize, like, wow, like being able to reflect back on the year that was and be guided through those questions to work out what worked and what didn't, and what were the big lessons of that, and what do I need to change going forward as well. What new year do I want to evoke? That can make it it's such a healing and huge experience. I made the books just for myself, honestly, because I was pregnant with my first child and I needed to gift myself with a vision for the next year. And when I looked around, there was no goals workbooks like it. There's a billion copycat products on the market now, but there was nothing like it on the market. And I didn't want just a black and white kind of dull thing. I wanted it to be super colorful. When I looked at it, it just inspired me and made me feel more creative and all of that gorgeous stuff. So I created it for me, and it's just accidentally happened to be loved by 250,000 people.
That's so cool. And I love that also. And I realized that often when I look back, when you think, oh, this was a really bad year, and I'm not saying it wasn't, but when you look back, there are actually always really amazing things, right? And it's so important to let go of the stuff that we don't want to carry into the new year, and also realize, hey, this amazing thing happened. Because a lot happens in one year, actually, when we look back and really look at what's been coming up for us.
Big time. So, I always talk about these statistics, but when you look at the success research that's happened, so 80% of people don't even set any goals whatsoever. Just 16% of people think of goals and don't write them down. 3% of people write them down and never look at them again. They're just on a piece of paper in a cupboard somewhere, and they find them years later and go, and just 1% of people actually write them down and then refer back to them regularly. And it's actually that 1%, which is in the top 1% in the world of achievers, who've had the most career accomplishments, who have, the best marriages and relationships, and, who are the most abundant. They seem to have success not just in one area of their life, but in all areas. I think is really important because we as women and as creative types, we're not in it for just one part of success. We don't want just the accolades. We want life to feel good in all realms. So the workbooks are really about that. It's really about leading you through this beautiful journey of setting goals in every area of your life, and then regularly referring back to them, because when you keep it front and center in mind, it's so much easier for you to align your North Star and the directions of your day to hit the goals that you want.
Yeah, it's so important, isn't it? And how do you do that when it comes to the big goals, right? For those who have been maybe in business for a while and you got really big goals that you may not achieve in 1 year or 2 years, how do you keep staying committed to that big goal? And how do you, because sometimes it can be really overwhelming when you have a big goal as well.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of having that big goal, but then breaking it down into smaller, more achievable goals that you can achieve sooner rather than later. So, for example, I always like to talk about this because it's one of the biggest kind of commitments that I've done, apart from being impregnated and having children and marrying my husband. When I was sick and I met Karina for the first time, I was actually writing my biggest program ever, which is called the W Business Program, and it's about 50,000 words. And I wrote it in the space of, I think, a couple of months. And I was doing it while sick, and so and parenting, and so I only had a couple of hours each day. And so when I thought about the idea of having to write such huge tome, it totally freaked me out. I was like, "There's no fucking way I'm going to be able to get there with all of the limitations on my life currently." Plus, even if I didn't have limitations on my life, saying that I'm going to write 50,000 words is scary as shit. So I actually broke it up into daily goals, and my daily goal during that time was to write 3,000 words before the sun set. And I would remember days where I would be like, "Oh God, the light's getting golden. Let's go.
I can so picture you doing that, Leonie.
Jesus Christ, look me. And of course, like part of it as well is like I would tell my mastermind buddies, guys, like I'm going in, I've got 3,000 words to write. I'll check back in an hour and 15 minutes and tell you where I'm at. And I'll write back in. And I'm like, all right, I just did like 1,000 words. I'll check back in like in another hour and just nail through as fast as I could. And I would turn off the internet while I was doing it. So like no distractions and accountability and that short-term goal. And that really, really helped. So that's what I do with everything is I split it up into a daily goal, and I tell somebody else about it who's my get shit done buddy, and I turn the fucking internet off because the internet is the killer of all productivity.
Yeah, and then you're like watching movies of like kittens and people falling off cliffs, and you're like, oh, what was I doing again?
What happened? Who am I? What am I? Okay, yeah, all right. I'm not just a media consumer. I'm supposed to be creating here.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. And so, because I know that because you've been in business for quite some time now, and you've shared quite a bit about how you've had have you burnt out and not feeling so creative anymore. Like, how do you, what would you suggest people do when they don't feel creative? For someone who's writing something as huge as your Double Your Biz, or writing a book or creating something, how do they deal best? Or what's your tip for really dealing with overwhelm or that exhaustion of I don't even know what to write about because I have no inspiration, and burnout? Because that's...
So those are two really separate things. If you're just feeling overwhelmed, you need to just short, sharp goal, public accountability, go fucking do it, because momentum breeds momentum. All of the rest of the sun won't help you when you're feeling overwhelmed. That doesn't cure it. Not doing something doesn't cure overwhelm. Actually doing something, because when you set those short, sharp goals and you win, it actually gives you more energy to complete the next goal. So that's for overwhelm. So overwhelm, you need to set those short deadlines, fucking do them, publicly accountable. Use something like self-control app or cold turkey to turn off your internet and go fucking do it. Because creative momentum breeds more creative momentum, and that's the way out. If you're in burnout, however, which is different, you need to fucking fix yourself. I will show you. So this is I actually have above my desk, so I've got Leonie's golden rules to success, and in part of those golden rules to success, it said weekends and nights are work-free zones. You build in time where you're not working or creating and you're just fucking around, basically. And, regular times out where you fill your own well. So one of my most important rituals is on Sunday afternoons when my youngest goes down for a nap, and my eldest daughter, I put a movie on for her, and I'm enjoy that experience of screen time, because right now Mummy needs time for herself. And I have what I call Mama's solo retreat in bed. And I go and I surround myself with books and journals and paints, and I paint in bed, and I drink tea, and I read trashy novels. In my calendar every single week. That's what's going to happen. And so it's really important that we actually fill our wells, not just once, but regularly. When can you go out to, what is the things that inspire you? Do you need massage? Do you need to go to an art gallery? Is something that fills your well to go to a cafe just with a journal or a trashy romance novel, because that's my thing. My mentor Hira Boga, she talks about how we are pleasure anorexics. We become so unused to experiencing pleasure, and we deprive ourselves of it constantly. And so it's a reclamation of that. What brings us pleasure, and how do we so deeply say yes to it? I remember years ago I was reading about a businesswoman. I can't even remember who it was now. And she was a single mum with, I think, a 6 or 7 year old child. And she's one of her, she had a baseline of self-care, and that baseline was that for an hour every single night from 7:30 to 8:30, she would be in the bath, like having a big, huge hot bath with a glass of champagne. And she would be in the bath for an hour. And even though she was a single mum, and she said her kid knows that's mum's time. And, you know, and she would go, you know what, you actually really don't need me. Like, go to bed. And I love that. I love that idea of like, what can you do every single day and every single week, if every single day feels like too much for you, where you're just like, you know what, this is me time. And it's like a total reclamation of that, knowing that when you do, you're actually such a better giver as well. But it's for you first and foremost.
Yeah, I love that. And what I love so much about you and your stories is that because sometimes we think, oh, well, it's so easy for that person to take time off because they have, I don't know, a maid, no kids, whatever. But you're like, you're a mom to 2 really young kids, and you have run a wildly successful business. So I love how you've always found space, like pockets of time, right? And even if that was 15 minutes at times, and then you're letting it grow, you're still taking that time. Because that's the thing, it's like committing to giving yourself that time. Because if we wait until there is time, it never happens, does it? Because you have to actually commit to it. Because it's not like we choose to, because we don't do that for other people, do we? For our husbands or for our kids. We're like, oh, I'll take care of my kids later when I have time. Right? We don't. It's a priority to make time for it. And having that commitment to ourselves, because we're so much nicer too when we do that.
And also, like, I think as well, like, I've seen what I've done, like who I've become when I haven't. And it is not, one, it's really not a fun person to live inside. And 2, like, it's like, that's not a fun and loving mum and wife to be around, because I'm so deprived and angry and brittle and anxious because I haven't taken care of myself. And you know, this is when I first had, when I first became a mum, I thought that if I just kept on sacrificing and kept on giving, that was the way, you know. And I think we all have, on some level, that kind of patterning and that kind of belief inside us, like, you know, from our ancestors or from the way that we saw our parents doing parenting, all about sacrifice and no self-care whatsoever. So I thought that's what I had to do, and it nearly fucking broke me, and it nearly fucking broke my marriage, and it was hard. And so I learned the really, really hard way, like, Leonie, this is it's non-optional.
Yeah, and sometimes we do need to do that, don't we? Like, going through all that stuff until we wake up and we go, I can't live like that. This is not what I want. And
it's like a Scorpio way of doing life.
Yeah, totally. And then it's like you realize also that sometimes these are small changes over time, because it's not like you have to radically change everything, right? It's like sometimes all you need, you feel like you need a week on your own, but actually if you get 2 hours, 2 hours can be the most amazing thing ever, right?
Seriously. So everyone, like, I encourage you, go, like, get your kids to watch a fucking movie once a week, load them up with food beforehand, just be like, here, and you're not me. I mean, of course, like, if you're like 6-month-old, like, maybe then give them to someone else. Like, we're supposed to raise our kids in fucking village environments. Like, fuck it all. Like, tell your parent, not your parent, your partner, like, this is what needs to happen. All right, I should probably, do you have more questions? Because I can just hear them.
Oh, really? I have one last question. I have one last question before you have to let them out of the basement. Yeah?
Yeah, right. Self-care for the win, yeah.
What are the key things to making these workbooks really work for people who use them? Like, what are the key things to really stay committed to doing the things that we write down? Because sometimes we get so excited writing things down, mapping everything out. Like, what are the key things to actually go through with this?
Yes. One, buy them, because some people make that fatal flaw of going, yeah, 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 and they just don't get them. Like, fuck me, that's not how things work. Two, once you've got them, make sure that like set a deadline to finish them by. So for me, it's always January 15 each year. Three. Join the Facebook group. If you look for 2017, create your Shining Year workbookers. I think there's like 14,000 people in there, and it keeps you on track. Four is join a local group, because there are local meetup groups all around the world for the workbooks. And even if there isn't one, get a bunch of your friends and do it together, because when you actually say goals verbally and you share about them, you're much, much more likely to achieve them. And we've even created a free guide for you to run workbook groups, and you can make them paid or you can make them free, whatever. I don't fucking care. Just go and do it and connect together. 6, get the companion diary planner, because it actually makes you review your goals day, week, month. And that's really important. It's really a kind of like building like all of these structures and support and systems around you, so that it actually becomes a thing where to look back on your goals, and that the more you do, the faster they get created. So there's like this saying that's like, a millionaire looks at their goals once a day, a billionaire looks at them twice. So the more you stay connected, and the more you have friends and relationships and places and Facebook groups where that's the normal, then that's what becomes your normal as well.
Great advice, Leonie. And I think accountability rocks. Like, it's so great just to meet up and see, like, so where are you? And the thing is, when you tell people about your goals, they can help you. They're like, oh, I know someone who needs that, or why don't we do that together? Like, and then it starts. And once you get into that kind of movement, like you said earlier, momentum breeds momentum. And then you're like, you keep going, and it's not just your energy pushing things forward, but it's like everything's supporting you all around you.
Totally. Totally.
So thank you so much, Leonie, for taking the time. It was so great. So great. And if you want to get your own workbooks, there are links below, and you can, again this year, win one out of 3 readings with me. 45-minute readings. So get your copy of the workbook, and join a group on Facebook, and do get in touch with me if you have any questions, or check out Leonie more on her website, on Facebook. She's everywhere. Thank you so much, Leonie. It was awesome to meet you. And
thank you, everyone.
Beautiful.
If you haven't already, Karina's readings are incredible. Like, I've had how many readings from you? 1 billion.
1 billion, probably.
Math. You can't argue with math. No, she is honestly one of the most gifted intuitives that I've ever met. And I've met a lot of them. If you haven't already had that experience, do it. Like, you need to do it. Go now and do it.
Thank you so much, sweetie. It's such a joy to do readings for you. It's just amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, darling. Thanks, everyone.